Hey, I'm Reverend Sheffield. I'm at One Mic Comedy Club, 1331 Broadway, the old Punch Bowl, downtown Detroit. And this is at One Mic. And of course, we're here with my co-host, Lacey Horn.
How you doing, Rev?
She's got a horn. She's been here before too, right?
I have.
And of course, this illustrious the young man over here loves a smile. Loves a smile. Look just like his daddy too, by the way. And that is Andre Ash, who is also helping us here with media and publicizing this place. And of course, Robert Schultz, who is connected directly with Mike Epps, and really this was his vision. I was invited in, blessed to be one of the owners, but you know, Robert is the guy who keeps us connected, and it was his dream. Hello, Mike. Hello, Robert. Don't be throw you off, yeah. We're at a comedy club, right?
Right. Rev is a comedian, so hey, what you don't know what to expect around here at One Mic Detroit. This is a great comedy club. This was a vision that I had years ago with Mike Epps. We always talked about putting a comedy club in the city of Detroit. We always came up with options outside of the city, but Mike definitely wanted it in the city. And then once we landed with the partnership with Reverend Horst Sheffield, Bedrock, and a few other partners, and we landed right here at 1331 Broadway with the vision and of One Mic here. This venue is a little more than we anticipated, but this is great. We have 23,000 square feet here, which we features a restaurant. We have a bar called Day Days, a lounge called Onyx, and of course our showroom here, which is One Mic.
Well, you gave us, the whole interview in about 3 minutes, but that's
Yes,
all right.
I did. Yes, I did.
We'll unpack some of that. You've had obviously pleasure longer than I have to be on the road with Mike. I've gone to comedy clubs all over the country, improvs, other places like that, and so it is a flourishing business. And you're on the road with Mike. What is it that really differentiates, if you would say so, One Mic from those places that you and I have traveled and seen him do shows at?
Well, One Mic is more personal when it's your home. That's one thing. But going to quite a bit of venues throughout the country, well, around the world. I think about when we was in Australia. It was a lot different going to those venues as well. But nothing like the up close in person like we have here at One Mic. It's more up close in person versus you in the big arenas and in different venues like that with a much larger capacity. Mm-hmm. So here, it just gives a real home feel. It reminds you of something like back in the day, the 20 grand, the Latin quarters. That's when I was a kid and I used to go watch the Temptations.
That's a little bit before my time. I went to both, but don't remember them as vivid. More Latin quarters, obviously, yeah.
Right.
You have a question, Lacey?
I do. So I want to know, what is your relationship with Mike Epps? I know I can tell you have a really close relationship with him.
Well, I started out driving with Mike. I ended up handling his executive protection, which that is the nature of my business, executive protection. I've worked with a lot of dignitaries and celebrities throughout the country. And I worked with Mike back 20 years ago. I met him, and he asked me to come work with him. And it's just been an ongoing experience to work with him, his family. So with Mike Epps, I am his assistant. I'm his valet. I'm executive protection. I'm a road manager, and as well as any other type of assistant he needs.
So you're just his guy. Yes.
I'm the guy. That's what he hired me for, and I've been there ever since, him and his family.
Not like a man of all seasons, but a man for every reason.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. This is really an entertainment complex. You have different layers, but people come here for more than just the comedy. We have entertainment shows we got the Temptations review that's going to be here. How do you see the future of what this place is and what it could be?
Well, the future, I look at it now, we are the first business, which is a minority-owned business, here in downtown Detroit in the new entertainment zone, which is being developed by Bedrock. So we are the first business in this corridor, which come in the next few years. They're looking to add plenty more entertainment venues. This will be an entertainment zone for family friendly as well. So I look at the future here as us giving the city and also the tourists someplace to go, where we have 4 different venues under one roof at One Mic. We always get the question is Day-Day's different? Or it's all on mic. It's just we have different entities here.
So let's talk about that. Let's start with the restaurant, which is going through a rebranding. I think it's going to be called 1331 at One Mic.
Yes, sir.
Being re-renovated. We know recently another African-American, Kevin Johnson, who I knew I went to school at Harvard, has opened this place. There's still room for many African-Americans to operate downtown. But talk about that restaurant and what makes it unique and what the vision is for that.
Well, our restaurant, which is 1331, we're renaming it. We're doing a whole makeover there. What we're gonna do, the interior changes, lighting. It's gonna make it still family friendly as well. And also, we have entertainment there. We have a stage over in the restaurant, which great dishes that we have. Similar to a few other, but we have our own signature meals. Like
let's get into it because I love food. Like I'm a big lover of food. So you bring me in with the food, I'm all the way in.
Have you tried our oxtail chili cheese fries?
I have, and let me tell you, it is a slammer dunk. It's a slam dunk.
Slammer dunk?
I have my own
Slammer
terminology,
dunk.
so it's a slammer dunk.
It's a slammer
That's what
dunk.
it is.
All right.
Well, I'm kind of excited too because my sister, who's a renowned caterer, everyone is raves about her food. They're going to be doing some work over there and looking at getting the menu together. And that food part of what we do here is something you hope to carry itself by itself, right?
Right. And with Kathy Sheffield coming on board in that kitchen, putting her expertise on it. Brother loves the cooking. He speaks very highly of it, and I think we're going to have a quite a range of different foods on the menu because we're doing some menu changes as well.
And so let me just say, all you folks out there, because Kathy catered for thousands of folks, people have always asked me, when is your sister going to cook again? Well, you'll be able to come down here to 1331 at One Mic and get some of that great home-cooked food. Lacey?
Well, Rev, I actually have a question for you.
I
do.
Yeah.
I know you're hosting, but I have to ask because it's your business as well. I know this was your vision, Robert, but I'm curious, why did you decide to partner up and come along with the project?
I did it for primarily one reason. Well, 2 reasons. One is that, I've gotten to know Mike Epps. When you get in business with people, when you do anything with anybody, you have to have the kind of relationship you feel good about the person you're doing business with. And so that was the second one is I've got 2 granddaughters now. I've got a 9-year-old, Allura Camille, and my 9-month-old. My 9-year-old is here, and that is, of course, Lauren McKenzie Scruggs. And I want to leave something for my grandkids. I want my family to have a legacy besides political activity and community development. Plus, I've always had this issue about whether or not there was sufficient presence of black people in downtown Detroit. And so that helped me accomplish both of those things.
I think that's really good. So what has been the greatest difficulty or challenge with putting this business together, especially as one of the few black-owned businesses in Detroit?
Well, that's true for anyone, managing the money. In any of these kinds of endeavors, and I've always heard it because I've had friends who've had restaurants, the margin of error is so negligible. You don't make tons of money off of food and stuff like that. So things have to be managed. You have to really count your costs. You've got to really be careful that you don't spend too much money. And then, of course, it is making certain that people leave here and they're pleased. we love to run our stuff down. I have friends of mine go to black establishment and have one bad experience, and they talk about that place for the rest of their lives. They go to a white establishment and have 3 bad experiences and keep going back. So that's important. That people leave here, have a wonderful time. I mean, where can you go and see Mike Epps on stage like this? I mean, right in front of you.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about and bringing it back home to comedy for a second, like Rev, and maybe both of you can speak to this. I think there's somewhere biblical in the book, right, that speaks to how laughter is good for the soul. Isn't that is that true to some context?
That's extra biblical. We put a lot of the Lord to make a way, and He may not come when you want Him. I mean, those are what you call ideological etymologies that are rooted in some form of scripture. But yeah, I mean, it is, weep and moan for a night, joy comes in the morning. We have to have some laughter. Billy Sunday, by the way, was a great evangelist during the temperance movement, talked about the God of fun and how that whole era had put people in sackcloth and ashes and was suppressing their feelings. And he said even God enjoyed himself, so nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I think when you talk about Mike Epps and some of the projects he's been in, I mean, what are some of the projects that you worked on with Mike Epps as far as movies, if you will, or even presence where you've seen him in the presence that have like really had you laughing out loud?
Well, I worked with him just here in Detroit with the last movie that Whitney Houston did was Sparkle. We did that right here in Detroit.
You were in that movie? You were the Sparkle.
I was an extra.
You were the Sparkle.
That's all I was. I was an extra. I saw Whitney in that movie.
He was a bed bug.
But he was there.
I was there.
He was there.
Yes.
And that was a great experience here in my own hometown. Working on the set there. That was a great movie, great film. Mike also has about 20 movies that haven't even been released yet.
Wow.
So it's a lot of work that we have done throughout the country. Been on the movie set plenty of times. I mean, I don't have enough hands to keep counting.
And by the way, before we get off of movies, you walk down our corridor and every movie, a lot of the movies that Mike has been in are
yes,
on
quite
wall.
a few of them is on the wall. Matter of fact, Sparkle's on that wall as well.
You just
Right
reminded
now.
me about Sparkle because me and him actually were in the same scene together where the girls were singing on stage at a band.
Where,
band
Cliff
called-
Bell's?
At Cliff Bell's. I was in that scene. I got
And Kim was there as well.
Yeah, and Kim, yep. So that was and they kept rehearsing the same song over and over. For people who don't know behind the scenes, when you're in movies, they'll shoot the same shots to get different angles multiple times. But Mike was real cool in that movie for sure.
That was a very exciting.
Well, we're really excited about at One Mic and having this air every single Saturday on WADL. We thank Kevin Adele for the investment in getting an opportunity to get the word out. What we hope to have happen with this show is actually have some fledgling comedians come on and give them an opportunity to share some of their jokes, some of their gifts. We, by the way, cast a wide net, Robert, in terms of folks that we have here. You want to talk about how far and wide, we go? We bring people from all over the country.
Yes, we're reaching out to a lot of A-list comics as well, which we're looking to have more of that monthly have A-list comics, but we also have to look into the community and deal with the up-and-coming comedians. Everyone have to use this as a stepping stone before you actually get out into going into arenas. So a lot of comedians, they do their stand-up, work on new jokes and things in comedy clubs. So in the summer, when all the theaters go black, this is where they come and go into different comedy clubs throughout the country, and they work on new material. So we got to get the new material out. Let's see how it fits and who's going to laugh. That's what they look at. What's working?
Yeah. Well, speaking of comedians and comedy clubs going black, this is a black-owned enterprise in the heart of downtown Detroit. I'm glad to be a part of it.
You're a comedian yourself, right?
I was a comedian. I'm still funny on occasion. If you come to church on Sunday morning, I
He's
tell a
hilarious.
whole lot of jokes. In fact, I just tell you this. At 20 years of age, I had a car that was paid for, a house on Chandler Park Drive that was paid for, $30,000 in the bank, and I'd ride my little Pinto station wagon to Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, all over the place, tell jokes. And by the way, it was really good because I met some of the prettiest girls in the world telling jokes.
Now that part is a joke.
And I tell them this ain't funny, honey. We'll be right back after this. Hey, welcome back. I'm Reverend Sheffield. This is Dabo One Mic. We've had a lot of stuff. I mean, let's talk about some of the shows. We had a grand opening kind of with the Whispers.
We had
and
the
Mike
Whispers,
Epps, yeah.
Mike Epps, Henry Welch, Dominique, which she'll be performing this weekend here at One Mic. We had
Had the Manhattan.
the Manhattans. We had the
Russell Tompkins
Tompkins
and
and the Stylistics. We had the Blue Notes.
Yeah, Gerald Lawson.
Gerald Austin here.
Yeah.
We've had Vanessa Fraction. We had Joe Torre. We have had quite a few comedians in the past.
Good as it's been, it's going to even get better. Let's take a look at some of the things we're going to have going on. I think you're going to put them up on the screen. We can kind of walk through them. So September 27th, 28th, Barry Brewer and Kelly Kell. Now, you tell us a little bit about them, you know?
Know a little bit about Barry. He's been around the scene for a minute.
I'm glad you said it about Barry, not about her, because if you say she'd been around, it might mean something different. Go ahead.
He is a true comedian. So, and we have next.
And by the way, you get all your tickets at onemicdetroit.com. Oh,
Don D.C. Curry. Straight from Friday.
He looks like a Catholic priest in that picture, doesn't he?
He's a hilarious.
All you folks that have evil spirits, come for that show. He'll exorcise you. October 4th and 5th.
He's been in the game quite a while.
Who else we got?
And we have.
I mean, it's a lot of great programming.
Lakeside.
Lakeside.
What's the famous song they did? Anybody know? Riding High.
That was one.
Yeah, I mean,
there's quite a few of the old songs.
They got some really great stuff. In fact, on the way here, I was listening to Lakeside. So, by the way, let me just tell you what we do. So you know, on Thursday nights we have our music series, and by the way, we're expanding that to Alexander Zonjic, Jokes and Jazz, and but every Thursday night that's where we have our music series. Keep going.
Jared Lawson. This guy is amazing. He came here a few months ago, sold out. We could have did 4 shows with this guy. He is amazing.
He's like Jose Feliciano and Bolton.
He's also a Ron Isley, Stevie Wonder, Maurice White. He can Earth, Wind, and Fire. This guy got a lot of talent.
He directed all those?
He can perform.
Perform, yes.
He can perform.
He's a white soul brother.
He's got it.
You know, he's a Donnie Simpson type
out of Nashville
with white shade.
You have to give more description for Lacey because she's trying to figure out who some of these artists
No,
are.
don't be trying to act like Lacey. You know when you the one that don't know.
Threw me in there, didn't he?
You know who Donnie Simpson is.
Speak for yourself.
Of course I do.
Right. Hang on to the world. Oh, let's keep rolling.
All right.
Mark Curry.
Hilarious.
Mark Curry.
Do you know what TV sitcom he was in?
Yes, he was in
Mr.
Cooper. Yes.
You know,
Mr. Cooper. I used
you
to
could
watch
have been
that
a stand-in for him
show. Yeah. Why?
because you just kind of
Mark have toured with us in the past on the road, and Mike and us. So he's
All
a
right.
pretty good comedian.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
And next we have.
I think what we can appreciate, I think what we can appreciate about some of the even music artists is even though I may not know who everyone is, I think when we watch these shows, we know the music because we heard it from our parents, we heard it on the radio.
That's not all of them. What happened to Tweet? What happened to all the other ones that we gave them? But that's technology. We'll show. There we go. There's Tweet, November 21st. And this is part of our music series. Again, by the way, we're also partnered with Dabo, who we do free health screenings. As you know, people come They get excited. We test their blood pressure before they drink and all that because, you know, people come down here and eat and you have salt on the food. We don't want to get sick. All right, we have some more. I know we should have some more here.
Yes. Yeah.
We have guacamole coming. We got Michelet.
Yes.
And I think for all of our shows coming up, people can get their tickets at OneMicDetroit.com. So make sure you get those tickets.
Well, yeah, go to the website. I don't know if we have all of them, but you know, Michelet is coming with JJ Fad. We have Guapole is coming. So you know, I think what we did is our media person gave us some things that were in a certain range. But you know, these are some great shows, and we've got great comedians coming. By the way, we've got Nephew Tommy coming.
We have Nephew Tommy coming.
On the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
yeah. Well, you've been pranked.
Yeah, those prank phone calls to get me every time. Like, I'm always dying laughing with them pranks with Nephew Tommy. So that's going to be dope to see him right here at One Mic in Detroit.
I just love that it's concerts and it's comedy, that you get a little bit of both worlds. It's not just a comedy club, it's an all-around entertainment
And
club.
then we have things that are related to younger people. We have Trap Sundays, for example, and they have karaoke and
I'm a
silent.
big karaoke
Yoga.
person, too.
We had
So,
the trap yoga.
Aren't you?
What was that when you
karaoke
walking
person?
around with the lit?
So that was the disco night where we had the headphones
Silent
and
called
silent disco music
Glow
night
party.
with the headphones, the glow party, and we have 3 different channels for 3 different type of genres of music. So we're talking about hip hop and rap. We're talking about Afro beats, and then we're also talking about R&B. I had the most fun during that time. Rev was here, recorded me, but I mean, it's laid out with people different ages, but definitely towards the younger demographic who just had a great time. We had 3 different DJs. Shout out to Shayla for putting that programming together. That was really dope. One of the things that we do here.
All right, Robert, so we're going to wrap up. What we're going to do at the end of the show, we're going to show you a bunch of commercials for all of our shows so you get a sense of all of those and some B-roll and some people commenting on their fun here, kind of get a sense of how it looks here so we can invite you down. We want you to support us. Tickets are affordable, and we need you here at One Mic. What's the last words you have to say, Robert?
I just want to let them know that coming 2025, we're looking to do karaoke with Ricky Smiley. We're going to do it monthly, once a month, with Ricky Smiley coming doing karaoke right here in the One Mic showroom. And he normally does it at his hometown at the Stardome in Birmingham, Alabama. So I talked with Ricky, and he's looking to come do it.
Good. And then you know what? If you really want to do something around Halloween, come to that silent disco and watch that outfit he puts on, the lights up. He looks like he was part of the Lost in Space crew.
You talking about me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, my
It's
God.
really funny. Absolutely funny. All right, well, this is at One Mic. Pay attention now to all of our commercials, all of our listings, all of our shows. Come down and get some good food. We didn't mention Day Days. Yeah. Day Days is a nice place.
Just come and get a real experience.
Yeah.
It's not just a comedy club, but it is a experience to have.
All right, this is all of us at One Mic. We'll see you next week.
Thanks.
Hey, this is Reverend Sheffield, the host of the Wake Up Call with my co-host, Lacey Horn. Hello, Lacey.
Hi, Rev.
And we're recording here at One Mic. We love this spot. We love the location. We love the set. So why don't you introduce one of our guests? I'll introduce the other.
Absolutely. So we are joined by the amazing Kimberly Ann Thomas. She is a candidate for the Michigan Supreme Court Justice. So how are you doing, Kim?
I'm
Kimberly.
doing great. Thank
And
you,
we're
Lacey.
being joined
Thank
by
you,
Adam
Reverend.
Oye, who was a candidate for Congress, but he's not done yet, right?
Absolutely.
But now you work with the Michigan Democratic Party.
We are.
And we do know, by the way, that the party nominates judges. Is that correct? So you came out of the convention as a nominee.
That's right.
And
This
you're
past
all-
Saturday.
Yeah, you're all
So
Congratulations.
excited. So excited.
Tell us about you, who you are, what your passion is. You know, I grew up, you know, in civil rights. I have a great respect for law. I mean, G. Minton Williams, all those kind of folks in the state of Michigan, Phil Hart. I mean, they did amazing things. And it was always believed that if the law changed, or if the law was on your side, then you wielded the power you needed to change the social climate. I don't know if people believe that still, but that's how I was raised.
So I'm a law professor at the University of Michigan Law School, and I think that, you know, having taught my students for so long, they believe of course, in the ideals of our system and in the kind of change that you're talking about. They believe that if we work really hard and we work together, that we're going to have the system that we all deserve, that is fair for everyone. And so I am really excited to run for the court to accomplish that work. And then I teach students the practice of law at the law school. So I run our juvenile justice clinic. So with my law students, we work with young people who are court involved, try to keep them connected with their schools and their families and their communities so that they have a path forward. And so that has been fantastic work. I really, am grateful to be able to do that work. And I've been able to look at that on a statewide level on the Governor's Task Force on Juvenile Justice Reform. And so that's really the kind of law that I'm passionate about, is especially for young people in our system.
Yeah, let me just get a quip in real quick, because my organization was funded by the American Bar Association to look at the foster care system. I'm just curious about your opinion. We've done some research, and what they believe is that there's kind of a two-tiered approach here, that some children are being taken from poor families for not as bad or severe offenses as they are from more established families. I mean, I only bring this up because I think people don't have a real appreciation, Adam, as well, for law, what the law does and what the law can prevent, what the law can change. And that's just a great example for me. And the American Bar Association, I commend them to look at such a system. But in the state of Michigan, this is my question, I guess. Where are we with respect to topographical transformation of laws that have been unjust and that may work against us?
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of work that's being done right now. Some of the work, so the Michigan Supreme Court, in addition to deciding some of the most important cases in our state, also has leadership for our entire state court system. And so there is work that is started and that still needs to be done to make sure that what we're seeing across the state is equitable, that people are not receiving different treatment based on where they live or what court system they're in, and that people are getting, fair results across the state in a transparent system.
The maiden of justice is actually blindfolded, not wearing cheesecloth.
Well, so Adam, I have a question for you. So a lot of people feel that democracy is under attack right now. How can we motivate people to vote that are just kind of on the sidelines?
I think the first thing we have to do is we have to recognize that democracy has always been under attack, especially for Black folks and people who were not white landed property owners. That's not who our country was designed to enfranchise. And every single aspect, every single moment that we have taken in between now and then has been to expand the map on people who can do it. And so what I always remind people is, if you feel good about your government, if you feel like everything is going right and your elected officials are doing everything right, you don't need to vote. But I don't know a single person like that, right? Everybody I know who has 5, 6, 7, 8 things that they wish government was doing better for them, and they're frustrated and upset that they feel like people aren't reaching out to them. I was like, hey, if you have a need, you need to step up and say it. And the best way to do that is making sure you vote, engaging, inviting candidates out, right? But when we talk about judges, for example, I live in a community where the overwhelming majority of folks have somebody who has been involved in the justice system, either themselves or someone they love. And half of the people who vote in the nonpartisan section. Those are kind of things that people don't understand that they have to be involved with.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking, as a child at 10 years of age, how I was impacted by James Farmer at TULC, who opened his talk with, and my dad had him there, America, land of the free, home of the brave, America be America, because God knows America's never been America to me. But then he talked about the power of voting. And so the era in which we live then, people believed that if they registered to vote, that all the ills that they were fighting through the civil rights movement would be reversed and overcome. Today, it's almost as if the opposite is the belief, that nothing can be done.
Well, I think people aren't looking at the numbers, right? When the civil rights movement was happening, the reason the fight to get people registered to vote was so big was because the issue was not whether or not you would vote if you could, it was that you couldn't, so you didn't. You're talking about 65, 70% of people were voting 50, 60 years ago. Today, 17% of people voted in the primary in August. That's why we're losing. That's why the things that matter most are not being dealt with, because we are not selecting people like Kimberly who will actually address that.
Or there are other, and we go ahead and take a break, or there are other ways that people choose to vote with their mouths. I mean, if you would just tune in to some of the stuff you hear people saying, they're so opinionated, but then there's nothing that's attached, no action attached to that, that sense of injustice or that sense of being violent. We're going to take a break. When we come back, my granddaughter's on the set somewhere. Every Saturday on the wake-up call, you'll hear her voice saying, "This ain't no joke. You got to vote." We'll be right back after this. Well, we're back here at the wake-up call. We have the next Michigan Supreme Court justice that the Democratic Party saw fit, and they should have done it, nominate her to be on that ballot, and that's Kimberly Ann Thomas. I'm supporting her. I'm voting for her. I'm encouraging you all. There was a period in Michigan, by the way, where the judicial system was controlled by the wrong kind of folks, the Federalist Society and all of that, and now we've got a really decent Supreme Court, and we need to keep it that way.
Yeah, so my running partner is Justice Kyra Harris Bolden. She was the first black woman on our state Supreme Court, and we really need to get her reelected. So I'm very excited to be running with her. She'll be on a partial term on the nonpartisan ballot this fall. And so we are really excited for both of us to be running and for the opportunity to be her colleague on the court.
So just take a moment before we get too far into this. That camera, we're in 2 million homes, Southeast Michigan, and further than that. Tell people who you are and why they should entrust you with that sacred task of sitting on the Michigan Supreme Court.
Yeah, so I'm a law professor at the University of Michigan Law School, and I've been an attorney for 25 years. Most of that work I've done for individual clients in our state courts, from our trial courts all across the state to the Court of Appeals to the Michigan Supreme Court. I understand the experience that people have in our state court system, and I understand that they need that experience to be fair to them, that they need to get dignity on our courts, and they need to get respect. And so that's what I want to make sure to do on the Michigan Supreme Court.
And by the way, right now on the screen, you see all her information, how you can contact her. It takes help. People have to donate. People have to pass out literature, have folks over your house and have her come and talk. But we need to make certain we get her elected. Yes, young lady.
So, Adam, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on Project 2025?
I think we're spending a lot of time talking about this thing like it's this new idea that Republicans don't want us to vote, that they don't want us to be enfranchised, that they don't want women to have control of their bodily autonomy. They have been saying all those things for the last 20 years in big, bold letters, and then someone was like, hey, look, I found their secret plan. Their plan's not been a secret. This is what they have been saying they were going to do. This is what they want to do, and these are the policies that they have enacted. The problem that we have is people woke up and were like, oh, I'm afraid of that thing. I watched The Handmaid's Tale, and this is their playbook. Their playbook is clear. What we need to be doing is making sure that we work through the entire system, right? People are not engaging with our judicial candidates, and they need to be. They aren't going out and turning that excitement into a plan. And we should be talking about the plan that we have to take care of families, to do more with childcare, to make sure that our schools are funded, to make sure we're taking care of our veterans. That's what Democrats have been doing. It's what we should be talking about doing, and we should make it on a very simple pamphlet so people can say, it's like, hey, Democrats take care of you. And that's what we want to do. They want to take all the stuff that you care about.
So do Democrats do the best job of conveying their messages? I look at Republicans, and Republicans, you can put 100 of them in a room, and they all say the same thing, more vicious versions of it. But they already decide how they're going to, the caricature of Judge Thomas, for example, or you, right? And yet we seem to be, we want to be the Christ-like candidate. We want to turn the cheek. I mean, this guy that we're running against is almost the Antichrist. I mean, I wasn't around when Hitler was around, but I can't imagine him having more powerful folks than Trump does. Why don't we go at it? Why we got to be the nice folks? Adam?
I think when we talk about all these things, it's super easy to tell a fun lie, right? The truth is harder, right? There's nuance in all of those kind of things. And when we get to the thing, we want to talk about the details, right? Like when you talk to little kids and you're telling them the fable of, the 3 little pigs, and you're like, well, why would you even make your house out of straw? Because it's easy and it's cheap. Well, I didn't have better materials. That's why I didn't make it out of brick. I couldn't afford the thing. They're like, well, you should have made a brick house. If you had made a brick house, that's what Trump said. A brick house would be nice, it'd be great. It's like, all right, well, that brick house was made because you stole money from all these folks, because you lied about all these other kind of things. We aren't doing a great job of doing that yet, because we are talking about how we fix things, and there are 5 ways to fix things. They're just talking about tearing things down.
Yeah, and to that point, and I'll be done. When I hear even folks who are in the African American community who want to support Trump and all that, there's a certain degree of folks who love it when you mix it up. And it almost harkens back to having fight in you. Now, I know your character, you know mine. I mean,
Yep.
I've been known to mix it up. But I just think the Democratic Party needs to figure out a way to, call him a devil, a racist. I mean, ask him where his white sheet is. I mean, did he take off the noose for his tie? I mean, something, because this guy goes at us like nothing. But go ahead.
Well, Kimberly, I'm
Go
curious.
Democrats, by the way.
I'm curious of where your passion stems from for the judicial system and with law. So if you can just kind of share, where does it start? Where was the seed for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think the seed for me is really my family. So I'm a law professor and a lawyer, but my grandfather dropped out of school and was a coal miner. And so that's really where my family comes from. And, understanding that people who don't have lots of money, that maybe aren't connected, still deserve the same respect that everybody else deserves. They still have to have access to our court systems. They still need to be able to understand what's happening in our court system and be part of that. And so that is really, sort of one of the seeds of my passion. I guess another is that I used to be a reporter for the Detroit News, and in 1995 I was a reporter there and went out on strike with my union at the Detroit newspapers and stayed out on the picket line and really wanted to make a difference, and so that's what led me to law school. So I went from the picket line here in Detroit to Harvard Law School with a real commitment to being a lawyer who impacts people's lives.
Well, I will hope that against you. I went to law school twice. I finished 2 years, went to seminary. My dad wanted me to be a lawyer. But here's what she's saying. She started on the bottom. Now she wants to put you on the top. We'll be right back after this. The most consequential election this year, rightly so, is the presidential election. But right next to that is who we have that oversee our courts. As you know, most of what happened in the election was contested in the courts. It was state Supreme Courts and other kind of jurisdictional bodies that had to kind of sort things out. So when you're thinking about voting this fall, make certain that you know how important it is to put Ms. Thomas on the Michigan Supreme Court, former journalist, got mixed up in that strike, which, by the way, we can talk about that forever. B.J. Whittick and, Frank Angelo, by the way, was one of my teachers at Wayne. I have great respect for writers and people who, in this era, by the way, are being consumed by something greater than their own passions. But let me get off that subject. I want to talk with you for a moment about the Michigan Democratic Party. You and I have had a private conversation, and you've eloquently defended, to some degree, some of the ire that African Americans have in Detroit about us losing a black congressional seat to gain some outstate, whether there's been a presence of the Democratic Party in Detroit. I think that's why you're on board. Tell us, what you hope to see happen. And I think you ought to tell people you ought not to let that be something they use in this election. Let's sort through that. But let's not make us pay now, right?
Yeah, I think this is an election where we all have to recognize that we have one task, and that's making sure that the people who get elected at the top of the ticket, that's Vice President Harris, and that we keep a U.S. Senate seat, that we win and expand our congressional majorities. This is an election where we can't afford to sit at home and say, hey, man, I wonder what would have happened. Because otherwise, we're going to spend the next 4 years complaining about how the country is on fire and all these other kind of things that people are going to be doing.
We won't have 4 years. It won't be 4 years.
But that's why we can't. That's why we can't do that.
Yeah.
The way we leverage power is by showing up and making a difference, right?
Absolutely.
We show that we are involved in this way. 4 years ago, Joe Biden knew that he won because of black voters, and as a result, knew that he had to appoint a black Supreme Court justice. Has appointed more black judges than any other president to this point, because they understand that we're the base, and Detroiters can do that again. It's really important that we do that with this judge. I mean, we talk about access over and over and over again. we wouldn't have the right to vote in a very real and meaningful way because the way Republicans were trying to purge election rolls, where they were trying to roll back our access. But luckily, we have a Supreme Court that said no, and they need more majorities. That Supreme Court just gave regular Michiganders a pay raise by instituting the minimum wage increases that should have happened before. If we have another judge who is going to work on those kind of issues, which I know we have one sitting next to me, we're going to see the kind of impact we need.
Absolutely.
Well, Kimberly, I'm curious, what do you feel is going to be your greatest challenge while campaigning for your seat for the Supreme Court?
I think the greatest challenge is reaching voters and helping them know that our race is on the nonpartisan section of the ballot. And so if people vote straight ticket, they don't have their voice heard in the state Supreme Court election. So it's really important for people to look at the bottom of the ballot, look at the back of the ballot, make sure that they get the kind of justice system that they want, that they get justices that have the values that they want to see in their court system. And that's our biggest challenge, is to make sure that we spread the word about the nonpartisan ballot.
Yeah, and we still spoil a lot of ballots. But I want to just tell people, by the way, if you make a mistake, you can take your ballot back and you can get a new ballot. I've had people tell me, I made a mistake and I just left it. No, you don't have to do that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, voting straight Democratic or based on your party does not take care of the Supreme Court races. The parties nominate, this is part of the confusion, nominate those justices to run, right? But you still have to vote for them separately. So, guys, just kind of give me a sense of where you think we are in Michigan. What is the tenor? What is the tone? I mean, are we going backwards or forward?
That depends on what people are doing. So the decision every day on whether or not we're going backwards and forwards is whether or not you decide to get off the couch and do the work. The former president is in Michigan a lot because he knows that you're going to make the difference. The difference is he wants black folks not to show up, and that's the way he wins, and we need you to show up. So you got to decide whose team you're on. Are you going to do the work or not?
Yeah, and Justice Bolden and I are so excited about the future of our court. We really think, the decisions that the Supreme Court makes next year last for decades and decades. And so really we are looking forward to what the future of our court and our state looks like.
Yeah, just a quick caveat. I was having a conversation with someone who had an issue with a lawsuit, and I was talking to them about tort reform in Michigan, how caps are put on things. I mean, there's so much stuff that we complain about that is directly attributable to you not voting. And I tell people all the time, well, can you tell me how that relates to someone sitting somewhere who probably was voted for by someone other than you? Yes.
So, Kimberly, I know that you run the Juvenile Justice Clinic at U of M, and you represent, and your law students represent, low-income Michiganders who can't afford lawyers. So I'm curious, is there any stories that you can tell that where you've represented someone and it worked out in their favor? Like any highlight stories that you can share?
Yeah, so I wouldn't want to name specific names, but I did get a call pretty recently that someone we had represented was admitted to college and was looking forward to going to college this fall. And so those are definitely the young people that remind me why I do this work.
So here's what we have here. We have a lady who is actually helping to change people's lives, wielding the power of the law. I mean, we have people, by the way, who want to run for the state Supreme Court, who have defended corporations, who want to get in there and make certain that, cause of actions don't get tremendous payouts. This is a person who's changing people's lives, who made a decision what's important to her and what she values. We need to put her on the Michigan Supreme Court. What's that name again?
Kimberly Ann Thomas.
And when can they vote for you?
On the nonpartisan section of the ballot.
And what date?
November 5th or earlier if they vote absentee.
There you go. Thank you, Adam.
Of course.
Keep the party strong, would you? See you next week. Hey, I'm Reverend Horace Sheffield. Welcome to At One Mic, recorded at One Mic, 1331 Broadway, the premier comedy club in the world, with Mike Epps' name on it, and of course I'm affiliated with it, and all these people here have something to do with it. Let me introduce my cast of characters. Michael McDaniels. I was going to, let me just tell, I'm just trying to be funny. Michael McDaniels, who is a comedian who's performed here. We're going to talk about what it's like, his sense of how things are, having traveled all over the world. Of course, Stephanie Pride, Bennett Pride,
Bennett Pride.
who helps with a lot of the transportation, booking the artists, interfacing with the groups and the talent. Andre Ash, who likes to put that funny stuff on during the silent disco and look like he's from Lost in Space. No, I'm just teasing. Andre Ash is communication director and working with us here to make things happen. On the far end is Lauren McKenzie Scruggs, my granddaughter. Say hello.
Hi.
And then, of course, right here is the lady who helps make everything happen. If you know about me, if you've seen me, if you formed an opinion about me, it's because Tashayla Coates has said something about me. Isn't that right?
That's right.
Well, guys, we're at One Mic.
One mic.
Yeah.
Let's take care of my granddaughter. Granddaughter, what do you want to say? Hold the mic up.
Hello and welcome. This is a very, very nice comedy club, and I recommend coming here if you want to get a cackle or a laugh. Then there you go.
Place to be, huh? What do you think about your granddaddy doing this?
I think it's actually a good thing because, it's a good way to express yourself and get all the jokes out, tell people out in the world. It could be anybody in the world. It could be anybody. And it can be anybody that just needs a laugh. And him doing it is, the greatest thing because he knows a lot of people and a lot of people know him. And so he wants to spread some laughs in the world. And I think
He
that's
wants
nice.
to spread laugh in the world.
Thank you so much, Tashay. That's my Tashay. Thank you, Lauren McKenzie. That's my granddaughter. So articulate, going very far in life. So, brother, you're a comedian. Tell us about yourself. I know you travel around, and then kind of put that in the context of this house.
All right. I'm Michael McDaniel, originally from River Rouge, Michigan, Southwest Detroit, Tri-City area, River Rouge, East Southwest.
Oh, let me scoot over.
Yeah, move over. Yeah. Yep. You know you want to be here.
Is that near Inkster?
You know you. No, it's not. We know them though.
Okay.
Is that where you're from?
No,
I'm about to say that explains the jacket. All right, I'm scared. I'm just joining the reverend.
He's from Wayne, Michigan.
Yeah.
Wayne. Okay, well, same thing.
Well, Garden City. How about Garden City?
East side Detroit all day.
You used to work at that gas station.
You from downriver, he's from under the river.
You survived. That's Aquaman.
Right.
But yeah, comedy in the city of Detroit is where I actually started. My first time doing comedy was in Chicago, auditioning for a TV show. Okay. So to come home after that and get on the grind in Detroit, if you can do comedy in Detroit, you can do comedy anywhere. Yeah. I will say that we are the toughest audience, but we love hard too. When Detroit loves you, Detroit loves you. So, and to have One Mic here, I ain't seen a bad show or had a bad experience since this club's been open. It's been a beautiful experience. It's nice to have it right in the epicenter of downtown Detroit, which we haven't had in a long time. It's a new era for comedy. The people who are coming through here, every audience has been phenomenal. Everybody's having a good time, from the old people to the young people. And sometimes the song might just bust out and you just got to dance to it. Don't worry about that.
We've had a lot of good fun. I've taken pictures of people just really enjoying themselves. Tashay, let's talk to you. You helped market this place. You brought some of the younger crowd into this place. What's your impressions of One Mic?
It's definitely on the rise, for sure. Definitely focused on bringing in the best in entertainment, whether it's, singers, groups, or comedians. So definitely focused on that to get more people in.
You came up with the trap idea, right?
Yes.
For Sundays.
Yes, yep. So we have Trap Sundays, which is every single Sunday from 11 to 4. We have Trap and Toast.
Trap,
I knew you were going to say
I
that.
gotta do this. I'm an older guy. I've been 70
I
years
knew he
of
was going to
age.
ask, what is
When
trap?
we talked about trap, it meant something different.
You talking about FBI Sting? What you doing in my club?
You know what I mean? Trap had different nuance, a different ideological etymology.
Okay.
All right.
Preacher.
All right
Okay,
now.
Different sense and labor.
Now y'all see where Lauren get it from, right? For her
articulate vocabulary. So trap, honestly, is more of a catchy term. You can attach trap to anything, but trap is for the trap house. So that's where the actual term came from. But like I said, it's more of a marketing gimmick or term because it's trending or catchy.
Yeah, you've done a really marvelous job with that whole weekend with young people. We, as you know, had the transition, and some of the folks who were involved, and we're not throwing shade on them, wanted an older crowd. But, my vision, and you certainly push that, is that we welcome everybody. Young folks can behave. I mean, older folks can misbehave.
Absolutely.
Open up to everybody.
Man.
I mean, I love the new programming idea to Shayla. I must say, I love the older folks too, and so.
Well, listen, you love everything. You just a smoozer anyway. In a minute, you gonna love Stephanie before it's over. And Stephanie don't move because he be loving him.
No, he ain't. No, did it, really.
I'm not talking about like trap. I'm talking about trap.
Wait.
Kind of love.
Let's not forget, I'm from the east side, so I'm ready for anything.
All right.
Okay. He was talking about my jacket, so
Now he's stripping.
I'll take it off.
But now he's stripping. Now he's stripping. He can't prove the point. I'm scared of him.
So let me do this before you get going. 'Cause Andre, doesn't need an on-off switch. What do you do? What are you doing here now? I'm going to bring Desmond up in about a second. We just brought him on board, and Shay can kind of share some of the stuff he's going to be doing. But
yeah, we have an amazing team here at One Mic, working with Tashayla and Stephanie as we book artists and transportation, and also from a marketing and media standpoint, the comedians that we bring here, the musicians that we bring here, then it's our job to, once we got them secured, then we need to promote, and we get them secured on media, on television, on radio, and so that we're continuously promoting the shows that we have here. This is an entertainment complex. It's for the younger generation. It's for our seasoned veteran audiences as well. We have a lot that's going on here, and it's the entertainment destination in Detroit.
No question. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we want you to know the numbers on the screen. We're hiring new wait staff and waiters and bartenders. Our showroom is expanding. If you're interested in working for One Mic, give us a call at that number. They're going to have a session coming up pretty soon. You can come down and sign up and hopefully get a job. We'll be right back after this. Well, we forgot the stepchild, that's Stephanie. We were talking to everybody else about what they do, and Stephanie had on that black dress, and she was trying to figure out what she does. What do you do, Stephanie?
I love doing guest relations. I just gave myself a title. Okay. I do guest relations. So I handle the guests from their travel and since they get from the airport when they in our care. And I absolutely love it. I get a chance to meet some phenomenal people. And most of the time, people have a stigma about performers or entertainers and say that they're a certain type of way. But most of the time, they're so down to earth. And we've had the best entertainers of all times right here at One Mic. So I love working with them.
So we were talking on the break about everyone's seminal or special experience here at One Mic. What would yours be?
One of my favorite was Billy Paul's wife. Her name Blanche.
Blanche Paul, yeah.
Taking care of her when she got in here, because I was first of all, so mesmerized about Mrs. Jones. Like, oh my God, this is the Mrs. Jones. And so that was really nice. And then we were able to craft our shows. One thing about One Mic is not just, hey, get up there with a microphone, but we like to make sure that the show that night is so good for the audience. And so we did a special presentation, and she came up on stage, and then Rev gave her some flowers and things like that. And it was just such a beautiful night. And so I will never forget that night, because that made the entertainer a real person. Sometimes we just see them up there and we just like, get up there and perform. And then we forget that, hey, this is a widow, and this was a real love story that became the soundtrack of our lives when we was growing up.
Aren't you going to sing somewhere for us?
No,
Dear Mrs. Jones.
Yeah.
We're going to let Rev do that.
Yeah, be careful, because the last lady he asked to sing Mrs. Jones was someone else's wife, and he made her Mrs. Jones.
Oh.
Desmond Lester just came on board working with Tashayla. Shayla does a lot of the media, and we're kind of expanding so we can free her up to do some of the more operational stuff. But what will you be doing here?
Well, I'll be helping with the social media and also the marketing here. You know, I love comedy, and I have over 17 years of marketing experience. So, Reverend Sheffield, you know, you family, so I would love to be a part. I work with you.
Wait, we're not really family.
We're not really, yeah. Okay. Extended family.
Let's make that very clear.
We're not really family. You know, ain't no DNA involved here.
No.
He didn't just find out before we came up here I was his daddy.
I see it now.
Huh?
I can see it now. Wait a minute. Look at the smile. Look at the smile. Y'all get that?
Yeah. Well, Shayla, what's your special moment? I mean, you know, Shayla's here more than me. She's here every weekend, and she's so committed. I have to encourage her because she takes on so much responsibility. I mean, she, you know, not only does all the stuff and oversees the stuff for Dabo, you know, she's a personal friend, and I lean on her a lot. You know, if there was a shoulder that I cried upon or leaned upon, aside from Stephanie, it would certainly be to Shayla. But what do you do besides help me not fall out and fall down?
Thank you. So right now, currently, the social media and also actively involved in the events of One Mic. So planning out like what events we think are really going to sell, curate, like what is Detroit, you know, really asking for. I think the special moment for me is people having good experiences at One Mic. So it's very rewarding when people are leaving out and you're asking if they had a good time and they're like, this was so much fun. I can't wait to come back. So I think that's very rewarding. One of the events that we did was, it's called Pop the Balloon or Find Love. It's very popular on Instagram, like very trending, and no one in Detroit was doing it. So we worked with Chris Kyle, one of our local influencers here, to do the event. And it was very fun. You know, we had a live audience. The participants had fun. You know, of course, the audience cracked up and got some good laughs, you know, out of it. So just trying to curate a nice mix of events.
Yeah, it's a wonderful venue here. I want to just take a moment and talk about that. This beautiful showroom is available for private events. We have the Onyx upstairs, a really, really nice swank area. Some of these benches are from up there, and you know, you can have wedding showers, weddings. You can have all that here. Shayla's developing that portfolio, so you have a real sense of, you know, what's available here. So,
And these chairs are real comfortable. Like you can almost sleep on it. Like I think it's
we've had to hire.
Sleeping.
Speaking of that, we've had to hire security because they do more than sleep on them. Yeah, if you look in the back, you see a couple holes. Huh?
But what about Mike Epps? I mean, when Mike Epps comes, it is absolutely crazy.
And by the way, he'll be back before the end of the year. Okay. And, you know, we've got nephew Tommy coming, and we're booking some really fabulous people. But yeah, when Mike comes, this place, I mean, it was crazy. The lines were down the street.
Yeah.
You know, let me just say this: Mike is a one of a kind person. You know, I've been blessed all of my life to be around people of notoriety. I often talk about how unassuming Dr. King was.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, Dr. King in my dad's basement, I went to school with Christine and I went to school with AD, and he says to me, you see people here trying to impress me, and I have a Nobel Peace Prize. You know, he was just that kind of guy. And Mike's that way. Mike is a down-to-earth, everyday, approachable brother. And not only that, he is a deliberate encourager. If you ever spend any private time with him, and that's why, you know, I told Mike all the time, Mike, you could be a pastor. You know, you could be a pastor. You just got that kind of feel for folks. But
he's learning from you.
You know, he didn't get it from me. I mean, you know, if any of y'all know me well, you know, one thing I do not like is people who think more of themselves than they should.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we're all the same. You know, we all were created equal in the sight of God, and you may have more stuff than me, but you're not better than me. But when we come back, we're just going to have a few personal moments. We're doing all this to encourage you, by the way, to participate. If you're a comedian or you're a performer, we're looking to book folks. We love to have you here. We'll be doing some more amateur things, but the numbers on the screen. Don't forget, we're also hiring bartenders and waitresses, and we all meet people to help us. So if you're interested in the employment opportunities, but most of all, go buy those tickets. Come to our show, support us. Buttress the bottom line of this black business and be proud that you put some money in some good folks' pockets. We'll be right back after this. Hey, I'm Reverend Sheffield, but actually every now and then I'm somebody else. This brother over here is good at that. I know you think I'm somebody else. Just don't think I'm your girlfriend, try to kiss me. I'm just teasing. You're good at impressions.
I do a few.
Give us
You
a
do
couple.
more than a few. You downplaying
How about Mike Epps and Greg Mathis?
Oh, Greg Mathis, that's Mike Larry. I can't touch that.
Okay, all right.
But
Mike, I don't know if
know.
Greg will want to be doing any impressions of him right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea, but
But go ahead.
It's good to be up in here in my own club tonight. It's daytime or is it nighttime? What we doing up in here, Rev? Rev told me I could be a pastor. I'm gonna go ahead and turn to the book of Deuteronomy real quick.
Nice, I love it.
Oh, the lamb.
That's the part you got the best.
That was good. That's good.
Thank you.
Hey, so help us understand some of the stuff that goes on between comics. It seems like they get in it with each other.
It's a little messy. I think this era has created a little bit more mess, especially between comics of our color. Everything's about attention, so whatever it takes to get attention, that's what they do. It's not about the camaraderie or building each other up, but it depends on the core group that you're a part of. But the higher up you go, it seems like the more of a target you're going to be. It's very competitive. I'll just put it that.
So you think like Monique, she's been on. I think she was on Mike's show down in Florida when I went down there, and she seems to be pretty bitter.
Seems that way.
Yeah. I mean, she spent her whole time just talking about Oprah and whatever. But here's what I want to know about that kind of stuff. Is that just showmanship, or are there genuine beefs going on between people?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think when it comes to showmanship, I think it's because you don't have a show, and that's what gets you attention. So a lot of times that's what people talk about. That's what'll get me more notoriety. They're going to talk about what I said. We're not going to talk about it whether it was funny or not, because it's not funny.
So I don't put everybody on the spot. We can all talk about this. I think one of the things we're facing in the era in which we now find, Black Promoters Collaborative, friends of mine had an opportunity to invest. Basically put out a business. These conglomerates come along, and they're doing the same with comedians now, where you can't hardly book a decent comedian because they're tied into
agency,
a series of shows, huh?
Or agency, or a series of shows. Yeah.
Like Live Nation and groups like that. They do such a volume of business, I guess, that if I got a chance to book one or two here, as opposed to 30 with someone else, so places like ours has a difficult time trying to get the folks we need to get.
Yeah, there's a strategy involved. It's like it used to be
Can
labels.
I tell you what the strategy is?
Yeah, let's hear it.
The strategy is for white people to make more money off of black folks than black folks can make off of black folks.
It's always been that way.
That's the strategy.
It's always been that way.
Am I right or wrong?
I can't lie with it. I don't hear any lies.
Yeah.
But it's come back around in that you have the capacity to make yourself famous. So now that you're famous, let me sink my teeth into you and take that independence away, give you a big check, and give you the appearance that
and I'm
you
saying,
want.
D.L. Hughes and people like that, and Mike, to their credit, make themselves available for venues like these. But the reality is that, if I can make more money with you than I can with him, it's not always about black, it's about green. But anyway, let's not be too political. I just wanted to get that out there, and that's why it's important for you all to support us, because we're working to have the kind of relationships with the kind of folks you would see at the not the Olympia, at Little Caesars Arena. You can see them right here.
I think slowly but surely, I think for some comedy clubs across the country, or just we're in this era where I think people are trying to return back to old school comedy, because I was talking with some comedians and interviewing them, Cheryl Underwood and Mike Bonner recently, and you know, we were living through this era of cancel culture where it almost seemed like some comics really couldn't say what they want to say without being shut down or booed or someone attacking them on stage or then getting canceled on social media. Where do you think we are engaging where people are in this cancel culture that we've been living through?
It's so sensitive now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I know one thing: you better not talk about Jews or gays.
Well,
I mean, you can't talk about anybody that they're. See, they coming to get us now.
Yeah.
For thinking about
Is
it.
is that a gay car or a Jewish car?
What? Let me stop. You're going to get me in trouble, man. You're going to get me in trouble. You trying to get me canceled, Reverend? You trying to get me canceled, Rev? No.
Yeah, well, we won't know until we see the size of the Billy Club.
That's loaded. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, it's loaded, but it might explode too. It's loaded to explode.
That's wild.
Let me
Rev
get
is
off
wild. But that we're in that era, and it is very sensitive for no reason.
Yeah. Let me do this. What can we look forward to Shayla? You're imprimatur, your fingerprints on a lot of the new designs. Talk about Onyx, for example.
Yeah, so Onyx is all black club that's actually above where we are now. We do have a second floor that a lot of people don't even know about. Literally black carpet, black walls, very grown and sexy vibe. It's the perfect space for you to have an event, whether it's a corporate event or you just want to have something for your birthday or some type of, party, get together. In the future, we're a little far out from doing this, but in the future, Onyx is going to be a members only club. So it will be like an annual subscription for Onyx. So very exclusive. Here in Detroit, we love our exclusive, things. So that's what's to come with Onyx. We also have the restaurant 1331. Right now, we're going under a lot of revamping, revisions, visually and menu-wise. So that's definitely something to check out. We have Day Days, which is our bar, which a lot of people don't know, but that was actually designed after a play off of Next Friday with Pinky's record shop. So very cool, fun vibes in there. And then, of course, we have the showroom where we're all sitting now with all of our concerts and comedy shows.
So let me do this as we close. I mean, we appreciate your patronage. We're in process of improving. Pray for us. I mean, we've had prayer down here. I mean, anything that you want to do is not easy. The line of progress is never straight. So grant us some indulgences, but we're always open to your ideas. If there are entertainers and comedians you'd like to see have happen here, if you got some great ideas, just call that number on the screen. Be happy to talk to you. But this is part of our team. We've got a great young African-American team, people who are not here. Keisha's not here. Kelly's not here. And there's so many others that make this happen. But what really makes it happen is for you to put your butt in that seat. Come here and don't frown, smile, have a good time, and go.
If you want a free meal, just call on Rev. He'll take care of it.
Yeah. And if you want a black version of Bozo, just tell him I'm just messing with you. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.